Let's go. Okay, so for chapter 2.2, we're supposed to be able to use...
Wait for me, oh.
I've been asking them. I'm recording. Come on. All right. So, chapter 2.2, you're supposed to be able to do the power rule, right? Now, you're also supposed to be able to do the quotient rule, right, and the product rule. But we have a way to get around that. As long as the bottom is not a binomial or a polynomial of any sort, we can get around that. So let's first talk about what it is to take the derivative.
Can I please get all the 95% and 100% students go over to...
What page are we on?
Thank you.
So this is the handout 2.2. There you go. It's a new handout. Alright, so what you do with the power rule is you take the power, you multiply by the coefficient, right? Okay, so there's actually a coefficient here. So 2 times 1 is, and instead of using this y prime, I'm going to use their dy and get us used to that dy dx thing, okay? So dy is 2 times 1 is 2x. If I subtract 1 from 2, I get 1. Okay? Now remember, there's actually an x to the 0 here, and 0 times 1 is 0. So that's why it goes away. Okay? And that's it. That's your derivative. Oh, don't forget the dx part. Sorry about that. Okay? So if it's y prime, you'll just go y prime equals 2x. So you can say y prime equals 2x, and that is also a valid answer. But if we want to do the graphing on the next page, we want to get used to doing the dy is equal to 2x dx. Okay? Now, number 6, little bit different. Before we can attack it, we need to adjust it. We need to make sure that it has a power. So what is a power of a radical? Okay? Since this radical has a hidden 2 in here, right? Because it's a square root, then that becomes the root of the power. Now, if this was cubed, it would be 3 over 2, right? But because there's a 1 here, it's going to equal, dy will equal, or actually just y, sorry, we're just going to adjust it. Y will equal negative x to the 1/2.
Wow.
That's it. Because the radical is a fractional exponent. If I were to have 4 and x to the 3, this would really be x to the 3/4. That's all. If it were 7, right? And this were 9.
It'd be x to the 9/7.
That's right. X to the 9/7. Cool? Easy peasy. Once you have it in a power formula, now you can use your power rule, right? Once you have a power, use your power. What's a half times negative 1? Just negative 1/2, right? So 1/2 times negative 1 is equal to
Negative half.
negative 1/2, yeah. And then if I subtract 1 from a half, I get negative 1/2, right? So I get I get x to the negative 1/2. Now, if I want to re-look at this, what's really happening here, and that's dx. Okay? What's really happening here is I got dy is equal to negative x to the negative 1/2, right? Over 2. And this is dx. Now think, negative exponents, what do we do with them in Algebra 1? We take them and we bring them down. And so there's really a 1 here, right? So dy is actually equal to negative 1 over 2 times x to the 1/2. So the negative just brings it down below. But what is 1/2? And now we can change it back into, oh, sorry about that. There's a dx here. And now we can change it back into dy is equal to negative 1 over 2 square root x dx. Or y prime is equal to negative 1 over 2 square root x. Both of these are answers. Does that make sense? A little bit?
Yeah.
Alright. This one, super easy. Super easy because we're just going to take this over 1. What do I do with that 2?
Multiply by the one in front of the x.
Exactly. Which is?
2.
Yes. And then what happens to the 2?
Minus the 1.
Minus the 1. So you get
1.
1. Cool. What do we do with this one?
It's 0.
No, it's not 0. Remember, this one has a 1 here, right?
I thought you said, oh yeah, you're right.
Right. So then what happens?
You multiply by 4.
Yeah,
So it's going to be 4.
that's right.
4x minus 3.
Nope. What do we do here? Minus 1, right? So that means x to the 0. Remember, x to the 0 is equal to 1, right? Okay? So, that would just be 4 times 1, which is 4.
I don't get it.
Well, what's 1 minus 1?
Why? I thought you had to do it minus the number. Like minus the 4, the number in front of it.
No. We're doing minus the 2. Minus the power. That's why it's called the power rule. We take the power times the coefficient. Subtract 1 from the power. So check this out. What if I had 5x to the third plus 4x to the second minus 2x plus 1? Okay? The derivative of this, right, would be, what's 3 times 5?
15.
Okay? X to the,
Third.
no,
Why is it minus 1 though?
all, because it's the derivative.
Always minus 1?
Always minus 1. So what is that? 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, then what's 2 times 4?
8x and then to the first, like,
Yep. And then what's 1 times negative 2?
negative 2.
Well, see what I'm saying? Easy.
You can drop the x.
And then you drop the x.
What do you-
Because what happened here is what's 1 minus 1? 0. So what's x to the 0? 1. And what's 1 times negative 2? Negative 2. Does that make sense? Better sense at least?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay? Now, with number 10, wait, did we finish? Oh. Don't forget your dy dx, or you write it as y prime equals 2x plus 4.
I'd rather do that.
Okay? I know I do too, but then on this next page, it really helps to do the dy dx thing. I started noticing that when I taught it to you guys yesterday. So hopefully I'll do a good job. We'll see. Alright, this next one. How do I put that x up top? What do I got to do?
Multiply?
Remember, there's a 1 right here, right?
Oh, you have to
But I want to bring it up. So what happens to that 1?
go to a negative?
Yes. So I get 2 times x to the negative 1. And now I can use my power rule. I don't have to use the quotient rule. The quotient rule is something we learned. It's really long. Only need to use it if the bottom is a binomial, polynomial, something like that. Okay? Alright, so now we can take the derivative. So, dy is equal to what?
Negative 2.
Negative 2.
X.
X.
And probably negative 2.
Negative 2, good. You're learning. You got it. Okay? Now,
No, just put dx.
and then just put dx. It's right. Now that's the same as y prime equals 2x and negative 2. They are the same. Okay? Now, oh, but we shouldn't leave it in the negative 2 form. We should really change it, right? So, what are we going to change it to? dy is equal to what? What happens to that negative? Where do we put it?
Down.
Down. So what happens is you get negative 2 over x squared, right? dx. Or you can write y prime equals negative 2 over x squared. And now I can do my roll, and then we'll do the second page. Questions? Is that pretty good? Right on.